SITREP World Briefing for June 8, 2026. Iran launched missile barrages at Israel late on June 7th, setting off air raid sirens across Israeli areas and marking the first such bombardment since a fragile ceasefire took effect in early April. Israel's military said it was working to intercept the incoming missiles, and by early June 8th, the confrontation had widened into a fresh exchange of attacks between the two countries. The renewed fire ended a short-lived pause in direct strikes between Israel and Iran, two adversaries whose confrontation had already pushed the region toward a broader war this year. By Monday morning, Israel and Iran were described as trading airstrikes, and a massive blast was reported in Tehran. The immediate significance is geopolitical as much as military. Direct Israel-Iran combat risks drawing in allied militias, disrupting shipping and energy routes, and further destabilizing a region already strained by months of war. The collapse of the April ceasefire also signals that neither side has found a durable mechanism to contain reprisals. The latest exchange matters because Israel and Iran are not simply engaging in a border skirmish, but in a direct confrontation between the Middle East's most heavily armed rivals, with consequences that extend from Tehran and Jerusalem to the Gulf and the Eastern Mediterranean. Israel has long treated Iranian military capabilities and regional proxies as a core security threat, while Iran has framed Israeli and allied pressure as part of a broader campaign against the Islamic Republic. With missiles again flying after barely 2 months of relative restraint, the strategic question is whether either government will now accept limits before the conflict widens further. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's ruling civil contract party won the parliamentary election, with preliminary results showing it secured nearly 50% of the vote and finished well ahead of its rivals. The results cemented Pashinyan's political position and extended Armenia's pro-Western shift. Turnout reached its highest level in a decade, giving the vote added political weight in a country still recalibrating after its military defeat by Azerbaijan 3 years ago and amid efforts to forge a peace deal. In that context, the election became a referendum on whether Armenia should continue loosening its traditional dependence on Moscow and deepen engagement with Western partners. For the South Caucasus, the result will be read as a mandate for continuity at a moment when Armenia's alliances, borders, and negotiating posture are all in flux. Pashinyan now has stronger domestic backing to pursue talks after the post-war upheaval, but that does not remove the hard choices facing Yerevan over security guarantees, relations with Russia, and how quickly it can move westward. Kosovo Prime Minister Albin Kurti's party emerged as the largest force in the country's snap parliamentary election on June 8, but it failed to win enough seats to govern alone. The result set the stage for coalition negotiations in Pristina, Kosovo, where voters were asked to return to the polls after a prolonged period of institutional stalemate. The vote was Kosovo's third snap election in just over a year. Government formation has become a central issue, with warnings before the vote that continued paralysis carries a cost for governance, public confidence, and Kosovo's ability to make decisions. Kurti's first-place finish preserves his claim to lead the next government, but falling short of a majority leaves him dependent on partners in a political environment defined by mistrust and fragmentation. If coalition talks stall, Kosovo could remain in the pattern that prompted this latest early election. A magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck off the southern Philippines on June 8th, killing at least 19 people, damaging buildings, and sending residents into the streets as authorities issued tsunami warnings. The quake generated small tsunami waves that were also recorded in parts of Indonesia and Japan, widening the impact beyond the Philippines. In a region that sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and regularly experiences powerful seismic activity, the scale of this tremor immediately raised concerns about aftershocks, coastal hazards, and damage to public infrastructure across Mindanao and nearby islands. The earthquake toppled structures and caused panic in populated areas. Reports said more than 200 people were injured. For the Philippines, where schools, transport links, and local government buildings are often tested by earthquakes, the immediate challenge is not only rescue and medical care, but also rapid structural inspections to determine whether damaged facilities can safely reopen after the initial shock and expected aftershocks. The tsunami warnings highlighted how undersea earthquakes in the waters south of the Philippine archipelago can rapidly become regional emergencies, forcing coastal communities to move before the full extent of sea level changes is known. Civil defense agencies must decide within minutes whether to clear shorelines, suspend port activity, and warn fishing communities. This quake is significant not only as a deadly national disaster for the Philippines, but also as a test of early warning systems and cross-border monitoring across Southeast Asia and the Western Pacific. Sources and the full written briefing are available at sitrepbrief.com.